Okay, welcome, welcome. It is June. Did I say June out loud? It is June 2nd. Where has 2021 gone? Oh my goodness. It's not much different than 2020 as far as restrictions and stuck at home a lot, especially with the surgery, but it is going crazy. But June means I'm going to turn 60. I think I'm going to just like faint right now. Y'all take over. Okay. I'm not sure what to think about that, but anyway, well,
60-year-old friend, what the heck?
60
That's just not acceptable.
That's not acceptable. So 60 is the new, let's call it 30. Let's call 60 the new 30. You with me, Diane? 60 is the new 30.
Yeah.
We've got pep in our step, and we are healthier than we've ever been. And we're going to just start over. 30 sounds good. Yeah, 30 sounds good. Okay, let's do it. So now my husband and I have this little thing we do where we turned 50 10 years ago, and I refused to be 50. And so I dropped the 0 and told people that I was 5. And so I dropped the 0, I'm 6. So that's one more finger. So yeah, so I'm 6 this year. Okay, so Sam, you have a birthday this month too. So,
yeah, but I ain't gonna be 60.
You're not gonna be 60 ever. Is that what I just heard out of your mouth?
No, I think I'm gonna be 56. I'll be 56.
Okay. So Gina just had a birthday the other day, the same day that her little girl turned 5. I thought that was adorbs. Yeah, and I think she turned 40, I think, this year, right? Yeah, we've been.
Yeah, my birthday's this month too.
Oh yeah, what day?
Yeah, 16th.
That's Samantha's birthday.
That's fine. We're birthday twins. Yay!
Your birthday twins on the 18th, 2 days later. So usually sometime in June, Samantha and I managed to meet up somewhere for lunch. It's going to be a very different lunch this year, isn't it, Sam?
Yeah.
Your house or my house, right? I'm stuck. Come to mine. So I can't drive. I can't drive with this giant cast on my leg. So anyway, what an interesting week. I have been in miserable pain. I've been afraid to eat. I've lived on soup, Dr. McDougall's split pea soup, and diluted it 3 to 4 times. Did you get the split pea soup when you were on your trip, Diane? Did you get the
Yeah, it's good.
I really like that.
Yeah.
And it's super thick when you make it in its little container, but I was afraid of eating anything thick. And so I literally had my husband dump that whole thing into a quart jar and add a quart of hot water. So it was diluted like 4 times. And that's what I lived on for several days this last week, because I literally was afraid to eat because I was so shut down from the surgery. My bowels were just not working. I ended up back at the emergency room. I tried every concoction, fruit, pill, prescription known to mankind. They were going to give me another one at the emergency room. They're going to give me one more that was supposed to be like a rocket or something and blow me out. And I'm glad that I asked them to do another type of an exam, and they did a CAT scan to find out what was really going on, and they decided that would not be a good idea. So anyways, things seem to be back to normal.
Did you break your leg?
I had repair surgery to my knee. I had lost the 40 pounds, and about at the 42-pound mark, I had felt all sexy all day, and I'd been going out and seeing clients and feeling like I was all that in a bag of chips and a pair of sexy boots. And a client followed me home, and I didn't want to step in the mud because she wanted to go and see my garden, and she'd given me some plants. She wanted to see how they were doing, and she wanted to get a piece of my fig tree. And so instead of sitting down and taking off my boots, I grabbed them by the heel and yanked them up. So here's my ankle down here, and instead of just taking the boot off, I pulled that knee across at more than 90 degrees.
Ooh.
And it hurt. And then the next day it was excruciating. And when I finally, about three chiropractic visits later, he said, "You've got to get an MRI." So I go to get an MRI, and when I get to a doctor, she refers to MRI. It is a complex multi-directional torn meniscus, like it blew up. And so they had to go in there and repair it. So I had surgery a week ago Friday, about the time you were leaving for your trip, I think.
Yeah.
And I am in this giant brace that goes from almost my groin to my ankle, that is in a straight position. And until I start physical therapy, in between physical therapy, it has to stay in this straight position for 6 weeks, other than when they're torturing at physical therapy, which I think starts next week. So, but it's been a challenge, because to keep the circulation in my feet, because I can't walk around. I'm in a wheelchair here, or I have a walker. I can only do 50% weight bearing. The crutches were killing me, so we moved to a walker. But my husband has to help me, like every step of the way, and that's just more fun than romance can handle. So yeah, it's been interesting. Today's hair is brought to you by the Shaking Coconut Dry Shampoo. Yes, because I was a grease ball this morning and had no time to get in the shower by the time I got up. And so, yeah, that coconut dry hairspray looks fluffy, doesn't it? Wouldn't you be surprised that when I woke up this morning, I had like 3 strands all clumped together, like it was, had been
I never heard of that.
sweating all night. Oh yeah, you get it in the shampoo section. I get mine at Walmart or the grocery store, but Walmart carries it. This is where I got these from. This one's got a little gold cap. They've got one that's like strawberry flavored. This one's coconut flavored. But you spray it in like hairspray, and then you fluff it up, and it takes all the oily ooh out of your hair and makes it look like it's clean.
Yeah, it looks nice. Gee, I'll have to check that out.
I haven't washed my hair since Saturday. Today's Wednesday. So, okay. Oh, I thought that was my eggs. I have this obsession over these vegan eggs that are made out of mung beans at the grocery store lately, and they look like that. They're in a yellow bottle with a little black cap. I saw some of this.
Cheap mustard.
What mustard?
Cheap mustard.
Oh, cheap. Yes. No, I love that. And she puts it on her salad. I've been putting it on mine. It's so good on a salad. Who knew it's better than honey mustard.
What I'm doing right now is putting mustard all over my salad.
So since I just got up because my hubby came home and I had to talk to y'all today, hubby made me some oatmeal with some baby blueberries. These are baby organic blueberries. Look how tiny these are. Are those the cutest little things you've ever seen?
Look like raisins.
I thought they were currants. They were so cute. So, and then last night, did you see my post about the soup? Oh no, I haven't posted the soup yet. I made a video about my soup last night. You'll see it a little bit later today. But I saw it on another McDougall site. It was, they call it taco soup. And so in here is rice, beans, and I used already frozen made rice, just brown rice, threw it in the pot. I put like 2 quarts of vegetable broth, 2 quarts of water. So it's like, a gallon of soup. And then rice. I also used instant, already cooked, freeze-dried pinto beans. That was a mistake. I didn't read the instruction on that. Those should have been boiled in the broth by themselves for 20 minutes first. So it took a long time for them to soak up because I had so much other stuff in the pot. So note to self, if you're using refried or freeze-dried foods, let them cook in the moisture a little bit longer first. And then, I don't know if you guys have seen this. It's a little salty, so you want to rinse it. But have you seen this veggies? It's a can of vegetables at the grocery store in this canned soup section. And I'm not a fan of canned soup, but in a pinch, and I was last night because I didn't want to get in the kitchen too long. It's not comfortable for me to be in there. But it has potatoes, green beans, peas, carrots, even got some lima beans floating in there. but it's all kinds of vegetables, but it does have too much salt. The calories is only 45 per half cup. There's 0 fat. There's 0 added sugar, but there's 250 milligrams of sodium, and it should be only 45. So you'd want to rinse this one. Okay. The other thing I put in there was some fire roasted tomatoes. And the key ingredient to make it taco soup was you put in a packet of the taco seasoning. This is the no salt added kernel corn. And these are already low in the salt, but the sodium is only 10 and the calories is 60. So that would be a good choice for salt content. And the fat is only 0.5 and it could be 1.2. So it's low on the salt. There's no added sugar. So again, if you're doing corn, which we don't do that often, do we, honey? We kind of avoid that one because it kind of comes out the way it went in, you know, that kind of thing. And then the cut green beans. We're going to talk about fiber here a little bit later. Now, this one's also a no salt one, and it has 15 milligrams of sodium to 20 calories. So that's a little bit more 1-to-1, but it's still low enough to qualify. No added sugar, no fat. So put that all together, diced up an onion in there, and made this giant soup that was so good, so delightful. And we had, by the time we got through adding all that stuff, the pot was full. So we all had some good servings last night before we left here. And then we had 4.5, this is the half, 4.5 of these left over that we can have for dinner tonight. And I'll probably have this a little bit later while my husband's at work if I need a little snack. So, but yeah, that's the soup, and I'll have it on the recipe on the group page a little bit later today. But so Sam, you got your salad with mustard. What else you got going on?
Some I don't know if you can see it or not, but that's
Right.
I don't know. I don't even know what it's called. It's COUS.
Couscous.
Yeah.
So that's a wheat. So you might have some bowel issues later, because if you've had bowel issues in the past, that is definitely a gluten item.
Oh.
So, but it is it's made from wheat. So let me know. I'd like to see how that works for you. That would be a good.
I don't think I'm going to eat much of it because it's not really that good.
Is it one of those little thingies you get at the grocery
It's
store?
a package, and it's sun-dried tomatoes and Italian something, I don't know, but it was cheap, so I bought it, and let me just make it, and it's like, it's kind of weird. I don't like things like this in my mouth.
They use it in Indian food sometimes, or Mediterranean, I guess you could say. And whenever I have a recipe that calls for it, I substitute that. And if it's couscous or bulgur wheat, I substitute it for hemp hearts. Hemp hearts are higher in fat, plant source. So I haven't done that, in the last year. June 1st is when I started McDougalling. Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary. Yes. So I'm pretty pleased with myself. If it hadn't been for this surgery, I'd be down a little bit more, but I now am having to weigh myself with the brace on. So I got back up to 220, and I'd been down to 2.9 with it off. And so now I'm trying to watch the 220 go down. And I think I was 212 or 213 something yesterday. So now the scale is going the other direction with the brace on. So I'm just kind of trying to monitor that. So when I get this brace off, I'll be really surprised, won't I? So,
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So, but yeah, June 1st, I kind of started dabbling with it, a meal here, a meal there in May. But June 1st, I put my foot down and committed. This is going to be my life. And so it's been a year, honey. Can you believe that? He's lived. He joined in the bandwagon in January. He's done very, very well. We went out the other night. They packed me in my wheelchair up, and for Memorial Day, instead of barbecuing, we went to a steakhouse, and I posted that on the group too. You can see sweet potato with asparagus, salad, and steamed broccoli, and the asparagus was steamed also. and I have to get that off the side menu, and I have to go for the steam stuff because if they did anything else to it, it's going to be covered in grease. And then the next day for lunch, he came home and we had 2 little sweet potatoes that I make in the crock pot and store in the fridge, and steamed broccoli, and it was delicious and way cheaper. I'm just gonna put that out there because that was way cheaper. So, okay, Diane, what you got going on there? And I want to hear about your trip.
I got nothing going on today. I'm having such an allergy attack, just making me nauseous. It's like,
Keep the water going. You got to thin out the mucus. So yeah, there you go. Yeah. Try not to sip it. In a container about that big, you're going to probably want to put down 1/3 to 1/2 of that at a time and just chug that thing down. About an hour and a half to 2 hours later, 2 hours is the key that I try to schedule, down the other half, and just keep that going throughout the day, about half that container every 2 hours. Unless you have kidney or heart disease. Do you have any kidney or heart disease? Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So if you have any kidney or heart issues, then I have to recalculate it a little bit differently. But don't sip it because that's only going to make your tongue, your throat, and your esophagus happy. I need it to go in there and bathe and flush. So I got kind of a routine going right now. My husband's been making up, I don't have it out here right now. He makes sure that I have a couple of the 17-ounce European liter bottles available. And this is a chug for me, for my body size at 209. I still have to, at 210, divide the body weight by 30, it's 7. I need to be getting 7 quarts in a day, and that's not happening just because of my circumstance, but I am trying to get at least 1 to 2 of these in every couple of hours. So up to 32 ounces at a time.
How do you chug that much water without throwing it back up?
Well, Samantha and I have good water. My water is small. So regular water is 20 microclusters and your blood cells are only 7. So it's like a softball hitting a chain link fence, okay? My water is only 5 microclusters. That's like taking a handful of these little baby blueberries I showed you and throwing them in a chain link fence. They're gonna go right through and hydrate and penetrate and the cell, each cell, every tissue, every organ. It's going to neutralize the acids and flush the toxins. So that's how we can do that. I would never.
It tastes better.
I would never be able to drink large amounts of water if it wasn't this kind of water. It's alkaline antioxidant. The antioxidants is like having scoops of blueberries. It's a negative 800 millivolts parts per million, which is like the equivalent of blueberries in every glass.
So that's some kind of special filter you have?
Yeah, it's the one that my husband installs, and we do that road trip across the nation. I do house calls and I check people's blood and urine while I'm out there, answer their nutrition questions as a courtesy while he's under their sink changing their filters. And we do that this year. We're doing it in the month of July. So if you want to get on the schedule, just let me know. But we install it and come around every year and change the filters. So you get a personal visit once a year.
Wow.
So we do other water equipment too, but like the whole house as well. We have one unit that takes 116 toxins out of your bath, shower, and sinks. And we do water softeners too. But this is the creme de la creme. If you want to really take your health to the next level, I am all about the hydration and being able to get the smaller water into the cells, the neutralized acids, flush toxins. When I'm drinking my water consistently, my weight is consistent, even when I wasn't doing McDougall. So it's a really good system, and it's affordable. It's way cheaper than other systems that claim to be alkaline antioxidants, but they leave all the toxins in your water. For us,
Is that something, do you have a website for this or?
yeah, if you go to thestarchlady.com, there's another tab up there that says water.
Okay.
I think, and you can get to the tab there and see it. It's I'm also the blood lady, that you can see what I do with the blood. The urine lady, see what I do with the urine. I'm your poop lady, and
Oh boy.
also your water lady. So yourwaterlady.com will get you there to me. A lot of my clients use our our company name is All Water and Health LLC, but nobody can remember how many A's or H's are in the name. So we created the simple URL called My Water People. So when Samantha wants to refer somebody, she can just say, go to mywaterpeople.com, go to My Water People. And it's something that she can say personally, and it's easy for her to remember. It's easy for the people she tells it to go, oh yeah, what's that? Oh yeah, My Water People. Okay, they can find
So
it.
that's on the tab at the Starch Lady. Okay.
Yeah, so go to the StarchsLady and you'll find it. So okay, so tell us about the trip.
Well, the trip was pretty good.
Yeah, where'd you go?
Wait, Diane,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
also the reason I can drink the water like that, and not throw it back up is because we put flavor in it. The little lemon, true lemon or true lime or true orange. And then it's perfect.
That's because she's a wimp, but it tastes good anyways by itself. So stop.
It does.
Okay.
It does taste good anyway,
We
but
actually
still.
pull our clients and people that visit our booths at expos and stuff, and we hear sweet, we hear smooth, we hear crisp. I mean, it's just, we get all kinds of really polite names. That does not look like one of your daughters behind you. Hi.
Oh, it's Amy.
Oh, it's Amy. Amy's hair grew out. All right, it was short. It was long and now it's short. Hi, Amy. I haven't seen you in a while.
Go away. She's sick. She's sick. Go away.
Okay. All right, back to your trip, Diane. Do tell.
It was a good trip. We left here and went to Texas first and visited my late husband's sister and daughter and grandson. That was a nice little visit.
What
Brief,
town?
but a nice little visit.
What town?
Spring, Texas.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that was just over. That's about 3 hours from us. We're in San Antonio.
And then we went to League, Texas for a wedding. And then went to a casino, and my friend and I are not gamblers, but we played the games and I won $25, which was about break even. So, you know.
When in Rome, do as the Romans. I grew up in Las Vegas and never gambled. So people ask me how that happened. I go, well, if you watch enough families lose their families and marriages and houses enough, you won't want to do that.
Yeah, I figured we decided it was just our entertainment budget, and we just had this much money to play with and whatever.
Yeah. I have a relative who his job is to fill the slot machines, for example. And since the era of computers, they've all been computerized. So they know exactly which machine at what time of day is going to blow exactly how many dollars. They're all computerized.
Yeah, it's no fun.
Mhm.
I mean, I played, and I didn't understand most of the games. I was playing an electronic poker game, but at least I understood poker.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
But other than that, it was fun. It was a
25
fun
bucks.
2 days.
25 bucks in the black is better than 25 in the red.
Exactly.
So,
That's what I figured.
all right. Okay, cool. And then, so with your traveling and eating, how did that all go?
For the most part, okay. It was still challenging because he has to eat somewhere. So we tried to pick things like Mexican, where I could get just vegetables and rice, but the rice maybe had oil in it. I don't know. It was just lesser of evils kind of thing where we
Exactly. That's what we go by, the lesser of evils. Yes, exactly. Okay.
It did pretty well, and took my potatoes, took my soup, took my condiments, and got some salads, some drive-through salads at Wendy's, and so it wasn't too bad. I gained 2 pounds, but the problem was the salt in what I was eating, plus sitting a lot in the stupid car.
Yeah.
My legs get all puffy. I mean, we get out and walk a little bit, but still. But
Yeah.
it wasn't
No,
as bad as
that's,
the last trip. The last trip I came back, my ankles looked like softballs. They did
Yeah.
not do that this time.
so that's definitely water retention, and that'll drop this week. You're going to have a good weight loss this week once that gets out. But to get the water out that your body's retaining, you're not going to like this answer. You got to get the water in.
More water. Yeah,
You
I've
gotta
read
get
that.
the water in to get the water out, because your body until you start giving it the right amount of water for the situation, and it was in crisis, it started storing it. It's going to hold on to it until it knows you're giving it enough. So you're going to have to figure out how to do it. Put some lemon in it. Put a squirt of maple syrup in it. I don't care. Just get it down. So, okay, so you were able to do that. You had some of the soups on the trip. What was the other thing? Did we try something else too? It was just
to not eat the seasoning packet because of the salt in some of them. Take the salt substitute thing and put that in there. Put that in there instead, and that was good.
Yeah. So the McDougall registered dietitian Jeff Novak, he suggests taking 2 of the cups and adding only 1 of the packet.
That's a good idea.
And then you can save that other packet for beans or something later on, or soup mix later. But so that was kind of another reason why I was adding the extra water when I did it last week or this last week. I've only been eating solid food since Monday. Yeah, since Monday. So just a couple of days now. But
and we took fruit. We took fruit, apples, and those little oranges. Excuse me, those Smarties or whatever they are. Those little oranges like that. And breakfast at the hotel was okay because they had oatmeal, and I took a box of instant oatmeal too, so that wasn't so bad. And they at least all the different hotels we stayed at, not one of them had the same breakfast except for the oatmeal. So
yeah, they get some real temptations out there. I know when we go down to Bay City, which is down by League City, to see our daughter, there's one particular hotel we stay in, and they have those pre-made omelets, that used to be my thing. I mean, I would grab 4 of those and run out the door with them on the way out. It's like, okay, bye, see you later. And out the door we go, and they'd be full of vegetables and cheese and eggs. And yeah, I can't do that anymore. So, and if they're doing instant oatmeal, I put a whole thing on the group the other day about gluten and talked about instant oats. I use the example of, in English language, we say A-E-I-O-U, and sometimes Y is a vowel. We say wheat, rye, barley, and sometimes oats is gluten. And that's usually because the oats, if they're instant, are over processed, which creates a glutinous reaction, and it can also be cross-contaminated from the equipment. So looking for something that says gluten-free specifically would be to our advantage. Now, disclaimer, we are doing McDougall maximum weight loss. I've talked about water today, and we've talked about gluten. Those are 2 things he doesn't give a rat's rump about. So that's from the mouth of Dr. Rowe, chapter 1, verse 1. Okay. Those are very, very important to me because of where I've been. And my studies have indicated that every human on the planet cannot fully digest wheat, rye, barley, and glutinous oats. Okay. So just some people think that having a bowel movement that this big, once a day or once every other day is normal. And because that is not normal, it is, I feel obligated to teach people that they need to eliminate the full length of their colon, which is as long as they are tall. So if you're not dumping a load 2 to 3 times a day, you ain't eating right. So we're going to talk about fiber again a little bit later. So, and that's going to have to do with my 2 demo foods here. And but we're glad you're back. You're next time you're that close, we'll plan a little bit in advance or something. Yeah. But what state do you come from?
Ohio.
Ohio. Okay. Yeah. So we go through.
It's 2 days to Texas.
Yes, it is. So on our July trip, we go through Texas all the way. It takes 10 hours to get to El Paso, and we're in the middle. And then we go to New Mexico, Arizona, California, Nevada, north and south. We may be hitting Oregon this week, this year. Then we go over to Utah. Then we go to Indiana. Then we go to Illinois, Michigan. Wisconsin, then Michigan, Washington, D.C. We're going to Boston. We're going to Maryland, we're going to North Carolina, we go to Georgia, New Orleans, and all around. But that trip is about
Great.
9,000 miles.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah. So we do it on the train, but train food is horrible right now during COVID. And it also takes twice as long. It took us 6 weeks to do the trip last year. So we're going to rent a travel trailer and pull it behind our truck and try that this year. But we're going to have to stop a lot, you know. And here's how we stop a lot. We drink a lot. So you stop for a potty break, you drink your water and hit the road. About an hour and a half, 2 hours later, you got to stop and do it again. If the only bathroom we can get to will be detached to our bumper, we can at least get to one. So that's the trick of traveling on long distance. You have to walk and you have to drink. So, hey Carolyn, how you doing? Good to see you.
Good.
Yay. What's going on over there on your plate and life this week?
Well, I had some time off there last week, so I spent a lot of time just doing yard work and stuff, and
It's looking good.
yeah, just my usual. And then you were talking about hotels. We did stay in one hotel on the 21st. And yeah, hotel breakfast. I pretty much always bring my own, knowing that they're not going to have anything for me. Even if they had an oatmeal packet, there'd be nothing to put in it. So I always bring a bowl of oatmeal that I've already gotten, just used our microwave. But this last time I just wanted to see what kind of fruit they had. And I asked, do you have any bananas? Because I didn't see any. And at first she brings out these they have weird prepackaged ones that are kind of really green. And I didn't want those. These, and she showed me the spotted ones, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll take a couple of those. So I think she was gonna throw them out or get rid of them because most people don't like it that way, but I love when they're spotty. Like, that's the best.
Yeah, those make them really sweet, especially when you add them to the oatmeal. But I did learn something this week, and I even put it on one of the posts. I found out that the green, harder, less ripened ones are considered a starch, and they're a resistant starch. Like when we put our potato in the fridge and it has a slow digestion, kind of like the Islander plantains, you know, something like that. But if you eat the greener, and I haven't tried it yet because I've never liked green bananas, but with that thought in mind, I might try the green banana next time because it is a resistant starch and it has a slow glycemic spike on it. So that might be something to try, or figure out a way to bake it so that it's, you know, resistant starch, but still, you know, banana, you know, we'll see. Well, that's good to know. What else is happening? What else you got?
Well, I got, we just did our groceries on Sunday, so we're stocked up again with, you probably saw my post, I have tons of potatoes now.
Like 20, 40 pounds of potatoes.
40 pounds worth, yeah. And we'll probably run out before the month is over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those look really good. I think you had russets and yellow, right? A russet.
Yeah.
That was it. He's got this huge basket underneath this.
Yeah. And then, well, today for my lunch, I have a purple potato sweet potato that I'm gonna eat with broccoli and cauliflower and a salad. Yeah. So.
Awesome.
Carolyn, you look like you lost weight from the last time I saw you.
I don't know. I mean,
Your face looks
hard
better.
Okay. Maybe from this angle, I don't have a double chin.
She's tiny like Beth, but she
yeah, I don't know. I guess I have lost a few in the last few weeks, and then it's sort of just maintaining at the same again. But I'm back down to the weight that I was when I conceived my daughter like 12 years ago. So that's kind of cool.
There we go. I just left the delivery weight of all my children. So I had always gotten down after my kids until this last one. And for 23 years now, I've been above my delivery weight. So this is going to be a new year. I'm really excited for this next year to see where the next 50 pounds or better takes us. So slow and steady. but figuring out how to do some band exercises and stuff while I'm sitting here locked in this chair so that my arms don't turn to paper mache or something. But well, that's good. Good to know. Good to hear. So a couple of things we wanted to talk about today. We talked about my soup earlier, and one of the reasons I made this soup was for the fiber. Dr. McDougall talks about getting a cup of beans a day. He doesn't recommend a lot more than that because it is a good, super high source of protein. We already talked about the overload on the liver when you eat too much protein in one setting. But by having some beans in your meal, so I wanted to do something that had beans, and I needed it to have fiber. So I asked every doctor that has poked and probed me for the last, how many days since my surgery now? Too many to count. But yes, last 2 weeks or so. And nobody knew how much fiber I was supposed to have. Now, I found that very odd that doctors that are dealing with people with surgical situations that cause a shutdown of the bowel would not know how much fiber a person's supposed to have. So I had to do my own research. And I came up with several different articles that showed that a woman should have at least 25 grams of fiber a day, and men should have 38. Don't know why, but that was what I came up with. All of those articles talked about how the average person is deficient and they only get up to 15 or 16 grams a day, which is basically half of what they actually need. And so with that in mind, let's switch over here to screen share. I want to go find that little post that I did for you. But oatmeal every day for breakfast might have some evil in its madness that Dr. McDougall and Dr. Esselstyn are consistent about doing. And that part of that thing that they're consistent about doing is having oatmeal for breakfast every day. They don't even want to think about it. And so let me see if I can find it here. Get down here. There's my grandbaby, one of them. Ooh, look at that. Is that sexy or what? Whose is that? Renee's. Look how sexy that is. Wow, she made that look unique. I wonder if she hand did that or if it just came out that way. What is that? Green beans. Let's see what she did. Savory, not sweet for breakfast. I felt the same way yesterday, but I ignored it. Guess what? I'm full after eating, but not satisfied today. I listened to my body. What is it? What is it? Oats, rice, cauliflower, and green beans. Oh my goodness. How delightful does that look? There's something new to try. All right, going down here, there's my basil couplets. Let's see here. Find it, find it, find it. Oh, yep, sorry. Please put a link in here. The link's at the top. I didn't see that in time. Sorry, Sam. Text me next time. All right, so this is the one. You did? Oh, I missed it. I was probably trying to figure out how to get that.
And Max answered me.
Oh, he did? Did he put the link in?
Nope.
Ah, that looks pretty. That's Gina's kale, corn, sweet potato salsa. Wow. Okay, come on. Where's my thing? There's the restaurant difference. Now look at the difference in those meals. Do you see a huge difference there? This was the restaurant meal. This is at home. Uber expensive difference, but you know, we do what we do. All right, let's see here. That was the first solid meal was veggie pho. So, come on, where's my, oh, here it is. Here's the gluten one. Okay, so if I expand this out, we talk here we go. Fiber foods include raw veggies, and you can see how pears 5.5. You see as we go down here, there's several grams of fiber in fruits and vegetables, and avocados we don't eat. I got a double asterisk there that we use that on a rare occasion, but it has 10 grams per cup, which is about the size of 2 avocados, I guess. But going down, cooked fibers, here's lentils, kidney beans, split peas, chickpeas, black beans, lima beans, baked beans, quinoa, oats. Look at that. There you go. There's why Dr. Esselstyn, who is the cardiovascular heart disease prevention and reversal expert, eats oatmeal every single day. He also is the nitric oxide fanatic, where he wants to have, 6 servings of kale with vinegar on it a day. And if you're not going to do that, there are some good nitric oxide supplements. I do a liquid one. I do try to get enough greens and vinegar in, but I don't get 6 servings. I do eat one veggie salad, which is probably 4 or 5 cups in a lunchtime. I need Max to pick that up. This is why they're getting that oatmeal in. It's easy. You don't have to think about it. Breakfast is oatmeal. What's to think about? And that keeps us from deviating and waking up hungry and ransacking for other things. But they're getting half the daily fiber in that first bowl, because we're not eating one instant pack. We're eating at least a cup of oats that we've cooked up, most of us. And if we're not, I would encourage us to do so, because it sticks to you like glue and fills you up really well.
What you doing?
So here is the fiber on the vegetables. Here's the fiber on the beans and stuff. So you can go find this little post. It's got a picture of oatmeal, and it's got some other gluten-free versions of things that if you have to have it, like if you have to have bread, I found a German bread that is available at every Walmart I've been to. And it is actually good as far as the label read goes. If I click on it here, you'll see that it's 130 calories, which means we could have 2.6 grams of fat, and it's 1.5. And so it's like half the fat that would be the maximum allowed. The sodium is a little high, little overrolled, just right about double. 260 would be double, and it's at 240. And then there's 2 grams of added sugar, so it was still low on that. But it was dairy-free, wheat-free, egg-free. It's like totally vegan. And so that's fun to find. And it tastes delightful. This was a cauliflower tortilla. If you're tired of the corn tortillas, which we can't have the flour tortillas, not just because of the gluten, but because they're made with lard. The corn tortillas are just usually the corn masa, salt, and water. Well, these are made out of cauliflower, and they also had some corn flour in it too. So it's cauliflower, non-GMO corn, masa, yeast, salt, baking powder, baking soda, guar gum, and xanthan gum. There's no oil in here. So it says 1 gram of fat, but that's coming from the natural corn itself. The sodium was more than double, and there was no added sugar. So that was something that you could try. I want to say this one was in the frozen section when I found the Viva cauliflower tortillas. It's made by Cauliflower, which is the same brand that makes those cauliflower pizza crusts, but they have oil in those. Okay. All right. So go and look at that schedule when you get a chance, as far as the ideas of what to include into your meal to get more fiber in. And these are all foods that we eat anyway, so it's not that hard, but it adds up. And so again, females are going for about 25 grams a day, men at 38. So I also read that if you are used to eating these kind of foods and you're still not having fantastic eliminations, that if you were to increase your fiber intake above what your norm is by just 8 grams a day, that you would see an improvement. So if your norm is consistently 16, you're going to see an improvement by just adding that extra 8, because your body's going to go, hey, we got extra fiber, let's use it, So that's another thing we want to stick to and add. So we've got beans going on in the tortilla taco soup that we made. We got fiber going on the oats here, and it's Wednesday. And after the emergency room visit on Sunday, I'm starting to feel like a normal person again. So I had these made a long time ago for the home and garden show that we do. You ever hear somebody say, well, when I get around to it, I will do it, putting off things and saying, oh, when I get around to it, I'll do it. So I made a bunch of round to it. And here we go. And on my round to it, it has a little mantra around the outside edge that says, I can start just about anywhere. It says, drink water, eat veggies, exercise, sleep 8 hours, repeat. Drink more, eat veggies, exercise, sleep 8 hours, repeat. And so I would adjust that sleep 8 hours to now 6 to 7 hours to get, as an adult, to get not too much sleep so that you're not adding to depression by getting too lethargic, too much, or too little sleep going on. I also try to keep my windows open. I like brightness rather than today shutting it off because I look like a glowing monster for the film. But wanting to be able to get that vitamin D now, that's something I have not had for 2 weeks because we get in the car in the garage when they're taking me to doctor's appointments and I have not been getting my sunlight. So I'm going to start asking my husband to wheel myself down to the mailbox, take me with him down to the mailbox and get some sunlight. We need at least 10 minutes of exposure a day, and that is including your arms, your face, and your eyes without eye covering. So that is my 2 bits for today. Anybody else have any questions I can help them with today before you get around to it? Oh, you know what?
Rolled oats you were talking about?
What's that?
Was that rolled oats you're talking about?
It's any kind of oats.
Any kind.
Any kind of oats is going to have that kind of fiber. The more processed it is, it's going to be less and less of the actual food. So I want to say it was probably rolled oats or the equivalent. Okay. So there was something else we were talking about. Oh, sweet potatoes and how much they had as far as fiber goes. And you just be surprised at where you wouldn't think there'd be fiber and it's there. So we're on the right plan. We're on the right diet. So if you are urinating on a regular basis, if you're pooping on a regular basis, you're going to be doing it right. And we're going to be losing our weight. I don't know if you know this, but we lose most of our weight through breathing. Did you know that? Most of our fat cells escape through it's like burning them off like a furnace through breathing. The second would be our stool. The third would be our urine and sweat, of course. So it's important to get some breathing going on. That little exercise that we have on the group for the nitric oxide exercise, I mean, you can do it from your chair, and I need to start doing it from my wheelchair. And the pumping exercises that it had us do, and it's very short. It's only 4 minutes. But getting that nitric oxide has two benefits. It also gets you to breathe in more and take in the oxygen. And if you breathe in or blow out, you have to breathe back in again. Your body just will not let you not breathe back in if you're blowing out. So that's why when people are in labor and they have you breathe, because they know that if you breathe out, you have to breathe back in. Because if you were to do it any other way, you'd see women that are holding their breath because of the pain and not taking in enough oxygen, they'll actually pass out. So their body will take over at that point. I had a son when he was a baby. He's 26 now. But when he was a newborn, he had this little thing that he did where he would pass himself out. He tried it at home one day and got a ride to the hospital in an ambulance. And then he tried it at church one day, and I ran out of the chapel with this limp noodle in my arms, and 2 pediatricians from the congregation ran out behind me, and they both examined him thoroughly, and they said, just let him be, and when he comes to, ignore him. And he was doing it for attention. And, he's only in a family with, at that time, 10 other siblings. So maybe that was an issue, but he was doing it and holding his breath until he passed out. And they said the body will not allow you to hold your breath long enough to die. It will hold it long enough to make you pass out so that the body can kick in and take over. So they said, but when he comes to, don't be like, oh, are you okay? Are you okay? Because then he'll want to do it again. So it was the hardest thing this mother ever did, but I had to turn my back on that little snot and just cry buckets of tears until he sat up and he's like looking around like, nobody's looking at me. What do I do now? And then after he sat there for a second, we turned around and said, oh, hey, how you doing? Come on, let's go back to church, I don't know if you remember that, Sam. That was a scary time. So might have been before your time because I met you when I had Travis about 4 years later. So, but oh my gosh, that was scary. But I'm just glad the body's built the way it is for more than one reason. So, okay. Any other questions you guys have? Was that broccoli? Yes. Any other questions this week? Anything that we can study? What do you want to learn about next week? Let's, tell me. Today is contest day, by the way, and Beth's not on here to tell us who won. So I'm gonna have to go back through and see if she's got an answer for me, and I'll announce it on the page. Diane was our winner last month, so that was very convenient and handy. So let's go in and get your name added by attending. So y'all are in the drawing every week that you're here. And anybody who has not been here that watches the video and puts in a comment, they also get added to the drawing. So
I have a question. Hold on.
Yes.
This is weird, and you're not going to know the answer, but
Challenge.
All right.
I will make up something for you, Sam.
I made some more of the cauliflower mozzarella sauce, and I did it different this time, and the first time I ate it, it was, wow, this is great. This is wonderful, because it didn't have that, and it actually did not taste like cauliflower to me. And so I was like, wow, this is really good. But now it doesn't have this pull.
Did you put it back on the stove?
I did when I originally cooked it, yes.
Oh, but now in the fridge, it doesn't have the pull?
Yeah. Now it's just like, okay, it spoons out. I can pick it up, and yeah, no string whatsoever.
How old is it? How many days?
Just a couple.
Just a couple? I would probably add it back to the stove and stir it again. Maybe it's the heat. I don't know. But did you use cornstarch or did you use tapioca starch?
I used the tapioca.
Okay.
I used tapioca. I think I put more nutritional yeast in it than last time.
Now, I know when I had mine in the jar the second day, and you can see that on the video too, when I posted it, it was still soft. It wasn't like a solid brick, but it wasn't stretchy because it was cold. So it would have come out in little chunks like that. So you didn't heat that one at all. You just put it in there cold for the cheese.
No, I microwaved it after, and now it doesn't have this, the
stretchy,
but I mean, it's still good. And the last time, the first time I made it, I used it for, probably a week, and it was still good, so I felt like, what would be in there that would make it bad? Cauliflower you can keep in the refrigerator for a really long time. So why would it go bad because of some tapioca starch? No.
Well, I don't think it's gone bad. I think it's just I guess because of the refrigerator or whatever, the molecules have changed. So I would probably heat it back up on a stove in a pan again. I'm not a fan of microwaves, never have been. And especially we got rid of our microwave in 2009. And that happened because we broke down at Christmas and got a Wii console for our kids for Christmas. One of those, gaming consoles. Bad mistake. Don't do that. But anyways, in hindsight, do not get video games. But secondly, every time they turned on the Wii, the microwave, which is way over there, we measured it, it's like 22 feet away, shut off. Same thing the other way around. If the Wii was on and the microwave turned on, the Wii shut off. And so there was some, electromagnetic waves crashing in our house because this is on a different breaker than the microwave on the kitchen over there. Two different sides of the house, two different breakers. And every time they would turn on, it would knock off the other one. So I was homeschooling, and I've been homeschooling since our youngest was in kindergarten. And so for science that week, we decided to test the difference on which one they wanted to keep. I said, you can either keep the Wii or you can keep the microwave. And they said, we can't get rid of the microwave. That's how we heat up our hot dogs and pizza, because I was that mother back then. Okay. And they would buy those little individual 1-inch deep dish pizzas and microwave them, and they'd have their own and cut them in little triangles. I should have gone with that and gotten rid of the Wii, but I wasn't too bright at the moment. And so we did a science project. And the night before, I bought one of those frozen thick Stouffer's lasagnas. You know what I'm talking about? And I took a big wedge of this leftover lasagna, very dense. They're like this thick and this square. And I took one and they took one. And we had a contest. Hold on a second. I have oatmeal. And so we had a contest. They got their plate ready. They stood at the microwave. On your mark, get set, go. And while they're running the microwave, pushing the minute button, and I'm over at the stove with a little dry pan. I put my lasagna in there with a teaspoon of water and a lid, and turned it on medium high. And they're now hitting button number 2. They're at 2 minutes now. And I'm going, and it's starting to steam because that tablespoon of water in the corner of the pan was already creating steam very, very quickly on medium high. And in a minute and a half, a minute and a half, I'm eating hot lasagna that's so hot you can't touch the center of it. And they're over there hitting their last, minute and a half, whatever, because they had to go 4 minutes to get the inside of their lasagna hot enough that they couldn't feel cold in the center. And so on that note, we realized that a dry pan with a tablespoon of water was faster than the microwave. So out the door, the microwave went. We donated it to the vegan restaurant in town, by the way. And they had it for many, many years because it was huge. It was like the biggest one on the market because we cooked everything in there. And we've been using the dry pan with a tablespoon of water ever since. And it's fast. So that's what we do all of our leftovers. So that would just be my idea, is that the microwaves may have done something a little different to it. But if you tried putting it back on the stove, I'd be curious. Post later, take the last of the leftover and heat it up on the stove and see if you get that texture stretch back. Okay.
Okay, I will. And every time I use my microwave with my air fryer on the other side of the kitchen, the little kitchen that there's one side, there's the other side.
I mean, right there.
They pop our breaker thing, so
they're probably on the same circuit right there. We already tested that theory. We thought maybe it was the same breaker, and it was not.
Yeah.
It was a completely different breaker, or that would have made more sense, right? Overloaded. So
Yep.
Okay. Well, you guys have a lovely week. If you think
No. Tell me I'm the winner.
I have to go look. I have to go look and see what people's are, and then have Hubby Pants pull a name out. But I will announce it later today. Okay. All right.
Okay, fine.
All right. You've been on all the calls though, so there's at least 4 chances for you there. And so Caroline's got 4. I think Diane's got at least 2. So yeah, who knows? So Miss Gina and Beth, where have they been lately? Our routine regulars. So
yeah, exactly.
So let's get some people back there. Maybe they're watching the replays. I'll go look at the notes and see if they've been watching the replays. Because they've been here for a couple of weeks. So. All right, guys. Well, you guys have a lovely week in June. Yes, we are saying that out loud. This is a birthday month for Samantha and Diane and me. When's your birthday, Carolyn?
January.
January. Okay, so you're the other halfway mark. So you're at our unbirthday. our 6-month pretend birthday. So, all right, guys. Love you. Take care, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right. Bye-bye. What in the world?